And it's easy to see, and I'm gonna be. It's going by the book. It's going by the book. And John gotta take a look. And it's easy to see, and it's gonna be, yeah, it's going by the book. Well, I just made something up. I would be nice to have some nice music coming through, but I'm sorry, folks, I can't right now. But today I was thinking I was going to talk a bit about the spirit of Antichrist and about narcissism. Because I do really believe that sorry. Oops. Oh, sorry about that. I have this way of I made my own. I put it up and it fall down. Well, I'm going to talk about narcissism because I really believe that is we can really. Well, of course, it's obviously it's a lot of evil things in the Antichrist, and if it's full out to the Antichrist, we see violence and horrific crimes and so on. But what I want to say is we really see the outside way of how the Antichrist is by looking at the way a narcissist works, especially the narcissist. If we go a little bit deeper, we will find the psychopath as well, the pure psychopath. But you see, I had some relationships, too many actually. I've been in two, really, three you can maybe say, but one, I don't know, one I believe it had to do with his Muslim upbringing, but I actually been in two serious and longer relationships with narcissists, and the second one was worse than the first. The first I realized it was we were married for 4 years, and he's the father of my kids. And well, it's all started with him being notorious unfaithful. He was cheating on me very, very much. But the funny thing was, I don't know, because it was like his I saw it in all the country. It was a South European country, and I could see the spirit of it. There was there were a lot of married men going out to sex clubs, having affairs, having mistresses. As even in Italy, it's the same, but it's different cultures, because I was in an Orthodox country and Italy is Catholic, but it doesn't matter. It's because I don't believe, if they've been really believed with their heart, of course it can happen, but you won't do it without regret or anything. And anyway, he denied it, and that's typical for the narcissist, to deny. But he was more as it was when we divorced, and he started to use our kids really as weapon. He really bad. He was not the typical. He had some psychopathic, but I think he was more as a narcissist, because he was not completely emotionless. But the other relationship I had, he was pure narcissist, and sometimes it's weird, but I think it seems unlikely. But as a matter of fact, I start to think it's almost as if been in an MK Ultra. And then I said to myself, oh no, how stupid, because I knew him from the time I was kid. He grew up, he was older than me, he grew up in the same, it was a small place, I lived in a small town. And I was saying to myself, you know, a town like that, everybody knows everybody, and I was thinking, that's not possible. It's simply impossible that they would have some MK Ultra in that place. Of all the places in Sweden, they would have it there. And I didn't believe there was like a epidemic going around with MK Ultras in Sweden in the 60s when he was born. But then I remember he's not from there. His family, at least, is not from there. He's actually from Norway. And I don't know when they moved to the place I live. I mean, I'm born after him. And I do know that he had a horrible childhood. Everybody knows him. They know he had a horrible childhood, and they said they felt sorry for him. And I know his mother divorced his father because he was abusive. But I know he had horrible even after, in different ways. But I don't know how. I just heard what people say and what he himself said as well. And of course, that's the way the MK Ultra works, and that's the way narcissists are created in a way as well as they are pushed forward with a culture, narcissistic culture today. But I mean, to be a really born narcissist, or born narcissist, but to be a really created narcissist from your childhood, I mean, it's needed some, you need to be out for some traumatic events. Anyway, but then I noticed that's, maybe it's not a coincidence, but it was kind of weird coincidence, because I searched for Norway and MK Ultra, and I find a bunch of things. You know, the states were really having it together with this. They were working together with psychologists, neuroscientists, and with these MK Ultra programs and experiments after the Second World War, in the 50s, and during all the 50s and all the 60s. And he's born in the 60s. So and then I was thinking, but he lived in this small town in the north. It's not possible. So I checked out where the Nazis actually had their bases. And it turned out to be the biggest bases they had, it was in his hometown. It was because they had a lot of iron exports from there, and they want to secure that they export to Germany. They wanted to control it in a way. So they ended up there. I didn't know that until I checked it out, and there were really a lot of documents. They are still classified about these things. Some, just a few, been declassified. There's been some. The people they knew about it, they've been checking out the scientists and the psychologists, normal interviews that were not classified, that they had in the open, and they find out that they were doing these experiments. And I think there are maybe a few. I don't even know if it's a few. I don't know if they have, but there are a lot of documents that are classified until now still. So I don't know, it was a weird coincidence, but actually what you see in these people is pure hypocrisy. Really pure hypocrisy. The way they show themselves to the outside, to the people they meet, and this like a very correct person, very high moral, and the thing is, I've been out for him love bombing me a couple of times before. One time I fall for it, but it was just through correspondence. We never had a relation together. I stopped writing when he wanted us to meet, actually. And then it was, I kind of fall into it. It was like some hypnotic state. Every time, and when I was far, I didn't have any feelings or anything when I didn't speak when I was far from him, but every time I kind of fell into it again, but I snapped out of it quite quickly. But then it was one time when I was very fragile, and I was very, very worn out, tired. And he succeeded in seducing me, and it was a lot of love bombing, and kind of exalt you. I was like, he was like so proud of me, speaking about me, showing pictures of me everywhere, throwing out the pictures of me, speaking about me so very highly to his friends, and then slowly, I don't know. The weird thing is they suck out the energy. And you can't even explain in which way they do. They kind of take your space. You increase and you decrease and they increase. And you can't even pinpoint how they do it. They always have to be right. It's horrible if you question what they say. Always best in everything. They will never ever admit very, very pride people. Extremely pride, and they will never ever give you a real compliment. Actually, you have this love bombing and this, but it's in a different way. They kind of want to show off themselves, how good they are, how they treat you well and this, but they actually never tell you are good at anything, because they don't consider you, but they intimidate you a lot, patronizing and intimidate you. And especially in front of other people, in a way like starting with in a joke way. They kind of joke when they tell you, like he could tell my kids every time I cooked, oh, you're going to eat this food now again, oh, I feel sorry for you, and then laughing it off in a way. But the weird thing, if I did something like that to him, I didn't do like that to him. But if I ever had some kind of similar joke, like I remember one time I said something kind of teasing him with his son. I took his son. His son was young. He was 10 years old or something. And it was like, that was really an innocent joke, and he got mad. And he never wanted to show that he didn't shout or anything, but you could see, like, it was like smoke could have come out from his nose in a way. He always like that. If you kind of make a joke about him, he snapped you off or something. And then he started all this gaslighting. Typically, usually if you search on the spirit of narcissism and this, usually you find Jezebel, the spirit of Jezebel. And yeah, it is a kind of spirit of Jezebel. It is. But again, the Antichrist, all the spirit in a way, they are the spirit of Antichrist. I don't mean what I mean with the narcissist is that this is the way, like the deception going on in the world now. We are being gaslighted, and we are shown, like the angel of light and all this, we are all the time being gaslighted, making us doubt ourselves, questioning what is the truth, and being diminished, patronized from a system. And it shows more and more, even though some false give us some false impression that we live under the democracy and freedom, when we are actually more enslaved than we've been in all history, I believe. And that's the way, you know, and that's why we see so many narcissists coming up today as well. And they are satanic in the way they are. And then like in my case, I can't figure out what made him hate me. I mean, I feel some real hate from him, really. It's pure evil hate. Like straight, you know, like I'm target for it. He's throwing all this hate towards me. And I think it's because I caught him in a way or I don't know. Maybe I wrote about what I noticed in my diary. One time I tried to write to a Christian friend a little bit to get it off my chest in a way, and he found out on the email. I spoke to a guy. I can imagine. I still, he shouldn't have access to my Facebook, but I did speak to a guy, and it became flirtatious in a way. It was just after we got married, and I don't know how we ended up to flirt a bit, but it probably because I desperately tried to get away from what I had done, because I still can't understand how I actually went through with this. But yeah, you find out when I wrote my friend, and of course he listened to all my conversations with my mother in the telephone. That was the only socializing I had by the end. And I still haven't. I start to see a friend a bit more, but not much, because she has small kids, very small, and she has a lot to do. She has many kids as well, 4. She's not single though, but they have 4 kids. But anyway, that's also a sign to isolate you. And I really don't know how he did it, but he did. And I find out he was spying on me. He'd been tampering. He took control over all my network, over my units, all the units my computers, my cell phone, everything he had control over. He has until this day. And it become almost threatening. I find out that was really by a coincidence, because he didn't log off from some I'm not going into it now, but I did realize he'd been at least trying to cheat on me. I don't know if he succeeded, but that wouldn't be difficult in the times we live in. It's kind of easy if you want to find somebody to cheat with. I mean, they even have this like dating contacts websites, and I noticed he'd been on that for just sex meet. They have, for the ones they want to have affairs, they announce it. So I noticed he'd been talking to women, and as I could see, the women thought he was single. And as I confronted him, all the time he said, I'm not doing anything, that's my personality, when he was obviously flirting with them. And this is a stupid woman, she's just believing that and that. He find out stories, very great storyteller. And then when I confronted him with the computers, he completely denied it. He'd been hacking my identity from the bank, and he denied it. He kind of mocked me with it, insinuating that I had a psychotic breakdown or something, or I was paranoid. And he knew that I knew. Either he must have known that I knew. And I don't know, this game, the cat and rat game, they like to be in control, to be in charge, to know that I think sometimes they even want you to find some things because they want to trigger you in a way, like to see you suffer. They like to see you suffer. They feed of pain. And this, when they really put you down in a way. And they are completely, whatever they show, don't get fooled, because they are completely emotionless. The only one they have emotions for are themselves in some sense, but they can't feel with other people. It's not possible. They don't have any feelings whatsoever. Don't ever get fooled. They have no emotions for you. But of course it can be difficult to, I mean, I even knew he was a hypocrite in a way. I knew, because I could see through it, but I didn't think he was a full-blooded narcissist. I believed he was manipulating. You know, there are some people, they manipulate without they need to be a narcissist. They use this way. We all manipulate in a way, but some people, they have it inside them. They are quite easily, they are quite transparent in a way, because it's very obvious that they try to manipulate you, but they are not harmless. I wouldn't say they are harmless, but in a way they are. I kind of saw it like that. I thought he was a harmless manipulator, that I could understand what he was doing, but he was evil, really evil. But the thing was, why I started to believe that there were some MK Ultra involved in all this matter. It was that when I confronted him and he denied different things, he could deny as well. He could say something, and then he just denied it. It's a part of the gaslighting, I suppose. And the same, he could say that he had said something that he never said, and he insisted, yes, he been saying that. Or he can say that I said something that I knew for sure I never said. I really knew it, but he would make you feel like you were crazy or you didn't remember. But I mean, some things you just know. And then he denied it. He looked like insulted. That was the weird thing, because I started to believe, is he a split? I really believed that, and I didn't see much. Once or twice I see, but that was before. I think they were not even called split personality or dissociative personality, but or what you call it, I don't even remember. But this with different personalities. But he almost acted like that. It was really like this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you know, in a way. He could come and be very kind and this, and then he wanted to bring it on me. All these things he's been doing. I find, like, for instance, I find paper forms for divorce in his bag, filled in, and it was crossed in that he already sent in all the papers and that he had paid for it. And I didn't say I found it. I just asked him if he wanted a divorce. And he assured me, no. And I did that on purpose. I didn't tell him I find the papers. But again, I start to believe that because he didn't pay for it or send it in. I asked afterward when I went to the court to give in the paper for divorce myself. And so I start to believe that was a part of his gaslighting. It's really, there is a movie called Gaslight with Ingrid Bergman, and I don't remember who plays her husband. But you know, you see her studying it. And that's the way the Antichrist is working with the world as well. Seducing, sometimes love bombing, promising all the good things, showing different things that they are good, that present himself like this, well, in many ways like he doesn't exist, of course, or going by names that so they won't recognize him, but he presents that the thing that is behind us very good, and contrast to God, that he presents this authoritative back, all of you, how God has been presented, the Christian God has been presented in the world now lately. And I just to compare one person I met in the personal life with the spirit of Antichrist, how he works now. It's so, they are so similar. They're so similar the way you can see it in a way. I got to see it personal, and I see it just the same thing in the world. And then he denied it. I said, like, if he could never do something like that. And he made it's a long story. I'm not going into it now. I just want to briefly to talk about the spirit of Antichrist and how it's so, it's personalized in the full-blooded narcissists that we see quite many of today. And we see this, we see the narcissistic, the world is getting narcissistic, promoting this egocentric, narcissistic way for the people to be as well. But I don't mean, because it's easy, you get easy caught up in this. I did as well when I was at the social media. You want to present yourself as very good, as you take selfies where you try to look very good, and this. I got caught up in it. This is a deception for people. They don't have to be real narcissists because they are caught up in it. We can speak in a way, in an artificial way, yes. The youth today, they are kind of egocentric and narcissistic, but deep down, I don't think most of them are not really these full-blooded narcissists that you can meet sometimes. That it's chilling. When I think about it, it's just chilling to have been. I lived with this person for 3 years, and it's such a confusing time. I can't think about it chronological way. I can't see the series of events in a chronological order. I just see it as some chaotic everything. I can't remember what happened when. And that's the way his spirit works. And I believe maybe because these people they are controlled by the spirit of Antichrist. And they've been giving themselves, even though he didn't believe in God, he claimed, and they might not do, but they've been giving themselves to be completely in the hand of demons and controlled by demons. And we all know they are evil. And maybe I kind of provoked, since I'm Christian, even though I went astray a lot, but I was Christian still. I never claimed not to be Christian or anything, and I did. And actually, the later time I tried to read the Bible, it was a bit forcing, I didn't really, but I kind of forced myself because I thought I had to read, and prayed. I started to do that actually since, the last year. I was with him, I believe. Not even a year. Before that I didn't do, or yeah, maybe a year, the last year. And I think I might have provoked something. Of course he read everything. I did read about my concerns and this, and it might, since he never spoke out, he was so sneaky, he could never be honest, never. It was like, it was more natural to him to lie. Even about stupid things, he lied. And talked about people behind their back. But I think I provoked some hatred in him. He was angry with his ex, the mother of his son. And he said things about her that he was angry about, but I didn't see this hate that I feel. I don't think he's continued to stalk her, to hold her in, to have control over her, to take in a way some revenge. He didn't do that. He was speaking about it briefly. I mean, he spoke about to contact the social authorities about their son, and that's weird as well, because in the beginning it was because she was drunk a lot, he said, and then the next time it was because she was driving with the son in the car drunk, and then the next time it was because she was drunk and took drugs. So I don't know, maybe she drank, but the other things he probably made up. And yeah, it's just that I wanted to say we are seeing how there is a division going on, I believe. We are divided now, and I think that might have something to do with the trigger I made in him. I was in a relationship before I was with him, and that was also a guy I used to be in the high school. We have a bit different here in Sweden, something between high school and college, and he was not a narcissist, but I remember even he and in the beginning when we were together, he was always respectful. He was not a Christian, but he respected my faith. But I know when we've been together for a while, he started to go to attack to my faith. And that's happened quite a lot lately. Some years ago, I was not out for that. I didn't find people go to attack if they were not believers. But now, I kind of been out for it quite a lot. People, they sometimes unprovoked, without we even speak about faith or anything. They just start to attack you, your faith in a way, in some way. Friends and people you know for a long time, it's strange. And this happened lately. In a different way than it happened before. I've been out for it before, but not to this extent in a way. Well, anyway, now I'm just sitting here talking. I'm going to sleep now, as usual. I'm in the nighttime here. But I'm just hoping that I can make a real video sometimes. And until next time, good night, take care out there, and stay away from narcissists. Don't let yourself to get sucked into their poisonous net in a way. They are dangerous. And you need to be aware, to take care about everything these days, because we get more and more deceived. It's a great deception. It's upon us now. Take care. Goodbye.